My name is Michael Lindley, and I'm the chapter president of Veterans for Peace. And this memorial is for the soldiers who have died and been wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is the biggest part of the memorial. Altogether, we have about 2,500 crosses. But how we stay close to the numbers, we have red crosses.
We use red crosses here to represent 10 persons each because of space limitations. Otherwise, we'd be going way out on the beach, way too far out that way.
So they gave us this space here to use. And out here we got one coffin. That means one died in Iraq last week. And we've had as many as 40 out there in 1 week. We indicate the amount wounded. Again, we're trying to show people of numbers, because when people see these numbers and hear these numbers, it becomes another whole thing. It's just not a number. They look out here and see all these crosses and they start wondering what's going on, you know. And this is our mission statement. This is what we stand for: to honor the wounded, the fallen and the wounded, to acknowledge the human cost of war, to provide a place to grieve, to encourage dialogue among citizens, and again, down here we just to educate the public about the needs of those who return from war. And that's something that's very important. So one of the things we're trying to do here is show what the cost of war is all about. It's not only men and women dying in war, but a lot of young men and women are coming back wounded. I'm a Vietnam veteran. A lot of men and women came back from Vietnam fell into a lot of problems, drinking problems, drug problems. We don't want this to happen to the young men and women to come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. We also want to show here that Iraqis are getting wounded too. These are family members. They're not necessarily terrorists or something like that. They're people who are getting wounded.
So we'll often ask people what they would feel or how they would respond if some foreign country invaded and occupied our country.
Here we have a memorial to the Iraqis killed. And a lot of these people are innocent people. Our so-called smart bombs landed on these people and killed them. It doesn't make sense. They say, well, these terrorists are, they get amongst these people. We brought it there. They didn't bring us there. We brought it to the city.
But for some reason, we won't allow people to have their own independence from us. We'll celebrate our independence from Britain, but we will prohibit others from celebrating their independence from us.
This is a memorial with all the names on it. It has the names of the men and women who have died in Iraq. We have pictures here of these young men and women who have died. It's important that people see these things, because if they don't, they don't get a face, or they don't get a picture of what it's all about.
I participated in the Gulf War of 1991. I was in the U.S. Navy for 10 years. What I saw firsthand was the bombing of the civilian infrastructure. Those were primary targets of U.S. missiles, long-range cruise missiles, smart bombs.
This is Afghanistan. We always are changing the memorial. We don't want it to get dull, or we don't want it to, we always want something new, because we get a lot of people who come down here all the time. We want them to see that we're a very active organization. This is a table where people can come and they can write something down on it. They feel what they feel like saying. They can go here and they can read what they want to read. And you can find things that are for the war or against the war, talk about the war, talk about the wounded. I was at the table one day, and a lady came up and she asked if she could make a memorial. And we told her she has to go over to the table and fill out a little piece of paper and make a memorial. When she came over here, she looked at this. This was her son. You can come here and you can find out about our peace trees. He's been passing out these trees now for almost 2 years. He gives them out free every weekend. You just come and take one, he gets one. This is a bulletin board we put up with different kinds of information. We got an article we put up today. Army vet billed $3,000 for war wounds.
The Pentagon, we have found that they're not actually counting among their loss those who commit suicide after they come back home.
In January of this month, there were more deaths from suicide in Iraq and Afghanistan than there were deaths by military action. Our government's saying, well, everything's going so well over there. If it's going so well, why did we have 43 suicides? This is the table. We have a book here called very interesting book called Addicted to War.
So with all of this that I was learning about the U.S. foreign policies, I began to ask how many people have been killed.
Put together by Joe Andreas.
We armed and trained proxy militaries to fight these wars for us, because we are a capitalist country, first and foremost.
The book is used in the San Francisco school districts.
It is the interest of this country to make sure that capitalist interests are secured.
The thing is, it looks like a comic book. You go back here in the back of the book, and all this information, where the information comes, it's read and referenced.
And that markets are opened for those interests, that capital penetration and the security of that capital is assured.
We can get it into schools for about $5 to $3 a copy. This is what we do on Memorial Weekend or some day, or Veterans Day, or some holiday. And at night we'll have a candlelight vigil. This one was when we had probably about maybe 30 coffins here. Right after the surge, we really had a lot of problems. We were running into numbers like 30, 29, 40, 38, you know, big numbers. And that was weekly.
So once again, Arlington West is a representation of the human cost of war. We set this up every Sunday, have been doing so for over 5 years. We use coffins to represent those killed within 1 week, and we don't intend to stop until the troops come home. And even when the troops come home, then we have issues with veterans care issues that have to be addressed. So that's my little take on Arlington West.